right, guys, welcome to Under the Arch Sports. I'm Eric Hobbs,
And I'm David.
and it's time for us to preview the UFL playoffs, the XFL Conference Championship game, the Battlehawks hosting the San Antonio Brahmas in a rematch of the regular season finale. Before we get into that, please, guys, go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel and find us on Facebook, Instagram, and on X. Also, do yourself a favor, check out frostyjams.com. It's a great product that can help really just make your entertainment throughout the summer that much more awesome. Coolers with a speaker system, used through Bluetooth, sounds great. Marine grade, all that. Check them out. All right, David. Battlehawks here, 7-3 regular season, facing the 7-3 Brahmas after a regular season finale against these same Brahmas in St. Louis last week. 13-12 winner in a wild game that produced a bunch of storylines all by itself.
So based off that, what you're telling me is these teams are even.
Yeah. No kidding.
Uh,
Yeah.
but yeah, you're not kidding about the storyline. So there's a lot going on, especially at the end of that game. You had a 2-point conversion, which converted, then was called back due to a super challenge because of an illegal man downfield, which if you watch a replay, he was about 8 yards downfield. You can't do that. So good catch by the coaching staff and AJ as well, because I think he had a hand in pointing that
Yeah.
out to the coaches. And then right after that, San Antonio decided to drive down the field, thanks to the help of our wonderful secondary coverage, if you will. Got themselves in the field goal position. Then you had Hakeem Butler, who possibly got a finger on the game-winning field goal as it sailed wide. So, again, the biggest storyline I would have to say is our special teams continuing to step up every game, because earlier in the game they had a full-on block off another long field goal from San Antonio, which also could have helped the difference. In that game, the crowd noise was definitely a factor. You could tell the Brahmas players were frustrated. The communication, because it was so loud, was somewhat there, somewhat not. But it was just a tough environment for them. So it's good to have the game back in St. Louis.
Yeah. That win earning home field for the Battlehawks. 34,000 and change there last week. Anthony Beck, the head coach, in the post-game press conference calling for all of St. Louis to be there. That's not possible. There's not enough seats, but there's plenty of seats still open. The Cardinals are playing a home game that day, yes, but it's Sunday game, day game, 1:15 for the Cardinals. Battlehawks are at 6. There's time to do both, guys. So, yeah, why not make that into a heck of a Sunday? It's playoff football for the first time in 20 years that basically in St. Louis.
Yeah,
So it's exciting times, and I'm curious to see how this offense plays after AJ McCarron returned, and while the receivers didn't help him out, there appeared to be a little bit of rust. He had under 50% completion percentage and not a whole lot of passing yards. Yes, there was a few drops, one home run ball that should have gone for a touchdown and a whole bunch of yards. That stuck out. But second game back after missing 2, I think you're going to see a better AJ, and that bodes well, obviously. Yeah.
well,
I
and
think you have to assume that 13 points will not win this game again.
it gives you another week, or it gives him another week to rest that ankle too, because it's clearly not 100%. But he was doing well enough. His throws looked pretty on for the most part. My biggest issue with that game is it looked like he was only sticking with his first and second read and wouldn't go through his progressions. Some of that might be because he was trying to rush because of his ankle.
Yeah.
My biggest concern though was Greg Kowski's play calling, especially early in that game. Uh, he had a couple third downs where he chose just to run the ball instead of pass. So I don't know if that was because he was playing it safe for the ankle or they were holding back because they knew next week they're going to have to play him again. But the
Well,
play
this is a
calling
trend.
came, yeah.
This is a trend, David. Bruce Gradkowski seems to begin every game extremely conservative with play calling and then gets aggressive as needed later in the game. Uh, I don't understand it. You know, you listen to broadcasts and he's highly thought of. At least they say it. Not highly thought of right here as a play caller. I wish he were much more aggressive. I feel like his play calling leaves 10 points a game on the table. We'll see. It is different now with AJ McCarron's ankle and just trying to figure out how healthy he is.
Well,
Honestly, quick hitters, get in rhythm.
and the quick hitters he was running were those bubble screens to the outside where you have to break a tackle, and you can't do that against San Antonio because they have a phenomenal defense and
Yeah.
know how to make open field tackles. So those plays aren't going to work. When you say quick hitters, we're talking slants,
Yes.
crosses up the middle, quick little curl routes, things like that.
Uh-huh.
Uh, but his short passes that he seems to call are those stupid like sideline passes that go nowhere, and it drives me insane.
Yeah, and it assumes that you're going to win a one-on-one matchup and break a tackle, and if not, well, crap, gets 2 yard loss. So yes, a little hitch or even a slant where a big body like a Hakeem Butler can essentially box out the corner, or if there's a safety matched up against him for some reason, and just kind of bully his way into being in position and catching the ball. He's big enough to do that. And, whatever gets the offense going. Now, the other side, San Antonio's quarterback situation is wild. Chase Garber's, returned, but then got hurt again. And Quentin Doherty came in, and with the backup quarterback, the Brahmas offense came to life, David.
Yeah, he was exposing our secondary, especially. There were a lot of outside pass plays where our corners were one-on-one with players, and they were just given too much space. I don't know if they were playing zone, or even if they weren't playing zone and man-on-man, there were a couple plays where all they had to do was reach out and knock the ball down, but they weren't looking for it, and just gave up easy catches to the outside wide receivers. It was really frustrating to watch. Across the middle on that late drive, they had two passes right up the middle where the safeties were playing zone and nobody closed in on that crossing pattern, just kind of let them sit there and find that space. It's been a challenge this year, I noticed, especially in the zone coverages, to actually cover their zone properly. So it's going to be interesting to see what Wade Phillips does because, I mean, that to me exposed our weakness, and I wouldn't be surprised to see them attack us in that form next week.
Oh, yeah. If I'm San Antonio, I'm trying to throw the ball 40 times. Against the Battlehawks secondary, absolutely. The Battlehawks, much better run defense, in my opinion. I think stats bear that out. But Dormady, different quarterback, better throwing the football, frankly. Whether that's just the Battlehawks not being ready or whatever, they were better and more effective moving the ball once Garbers went out and Doherty came in. So it's an interesting situation. We don't know the status of Chase Garbers. What happens if he is healthy? Do they say, well, that's our starter? Let's see what happens. Or do they go roll with the hot hand? Like, hey, this Doherty, he was carving up this Battlehawk secondary. Let's play. We got two we're playing, so let's play him again, right? There's lots of ways it could go.
Well, and for the Battlehawks, one of the things you have to think about now is knowing that you were struggling with the pass defense. Do you start dialing up different blitzes? I didn't see a whole lot of pressure in that game last week. So is this one where you start creating stunts and blitzes and start sending some of the linebackers and play man to man because the zone wasn't working? So it's definitely going to be a cat and mouse game, especially since it's the third time these two teams play against each other. And I will say this: it is hard to win 3 straight games against a team in a season.
Yes. Yes. I was going to say the exact same thing. It's you have matchup situations where that are just weird, but I don't see that being the case here. I see two teams that are very even, and yeah, that is honestly what gives me the biggest concern is just the fact it's hard to beat the same team 3 times, and that's what the Battlehawks are trying to do. And while I do think they are a better team, it's not by such a margin that you just assume, well, they're better, they're going to win no matter almost every time they play. No, San Antonio's good.
And
So,
the one thing,
yeah,
the one thing that does give me hope though is the Battlehawks are starting to get a little bit healthier, and they did not play their best game last week. They left a
no,
lot of just mistakes on the field, especially on the offensive side. On the defensive side, towards the end of the game, they're real jumpy. They had
yeah,
3 neutral zone infractions because they're jumping. Some of that just might have been the moment, the crowd, whatnot. But they have, if they clean up and play their best game, I think they can win. It's just a matter of can they, as you said, these teams are so evenly matched. It's hard to win 3 in a row. And I mean, you're talking the best offense against the best defense, and you saw what a slugfest that turned out to be last week. It
yeah.
mainly turned into a defensive battle.
David, at the end of the day here, you're talking about a Battlehawks team that defensively looked like they kind of got exposed in the secondary, as we've talked about, but they gave up 12 points. We're also talking about an offense that looked rusty. The quarterback looked rusty. They looked out of sync. And they still scored enough to win. You expect that they're going to score more than 13 points, which gives you more wiggle room in case you give up more than 12. That's kind of a nice spot. For as hard as it is to beat a team 3 times and everything we've been talking about, the Battlehawks, I don't feel, played that great of a game all the way around this past Sunday. So maybe they come out more motivated to, yes, win everything else, but play a good game. And at the most basic level, play a good football game. And maybe that helps get them into the UFL Championship game.
Yeah, 100% agree with you. What else could help them play a really good game is coming to the game. So if you have the time, come on down to the Battle Dome. Tickets are on sale through Ticketmaster, but if you don't want to avoid all those fees, go to the Dome box office. You can even do it the day of. They need all the help they can get. Go down there, be loud. It's a totally different atmosphere from those games, Rams games, if you ever went to those. It's just a huge party atmosphere. It's a lot of fun. Go down there, be loud, support your Battlehawks, and hopefully
No reason there can't be 50K there.
Yeah, and hopefully we can do this again for the UFL Championship. But until then, check out the game. It's going to be a lot of fun. And if you happen to see me there, stop by, say hi. Until then, thank you guys for watching Under the Earth Sports.